Yo, what's up, guys? This is Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting. I'm one of the HCS commentators, and we have another HCS weekly report where today we're going to be talking about the 4K that's coming up this weekend, the second 4K that we've seen so far. And let me tell you, this has not disappointed whatsoever. We found out what's going to happen as far as pool play, which happens on Saturday, and then depending on what happens in pool play will determine who makes it into bracket play the next day. It's 4 teams in each pool, 4 pools total. The last place team gets eliminated, does not make it to championship Sunday. Whoever ends up in third place does make it to championship bracket, but will end up in the lower bracket starting off. So kind of do or die situation for them. And then whoever ends up in the first seed will play against a 2 seed from another pool. There'll be no first seeds going up. So say, for example, Optic ends up in first place in their pools. They can go up against, say, Native Red, who gets second place in their pools. They would go up against Native Red. No 1 seeds will go up against each other. So pool play always has been very important when it comes to these tournaments, and will continue to be so. And with the Rosetermania that's happened recently, there's a lot of crazy matchups. So let's talk about it. Pool A: Optic Gaming, Sentinels, the Avengers, and Darkest Hour. Optic made up of APG, Formal, Lucid, and Trippy. Back-to-back land champions, the winner of the first 4K that we had, and probably most of y'all favorites at home to win this tournament and even win DreamHack as well. Sentinels: King Nick, Lethal, Spartan, and the newly acquired Suspector. Suspector being dropped off of that gamer's first roster, and Sentinels deciding that they want to change their layout a little bit, sending Collect to a better place, if you will, and meanwhile bringing Suspector on and hopefully trying to get a better mesh or a better fit for their squad. We're gonna find out very soon if that was worth it. By the way, Sentinels did look very good in scrims yesterday against Mantra, and they're gonna have to be very good because they're also in the same pool as Avengers, coming in as the 3rd seed. Husk, Neuronical, Precision, and Swish. With all of the roster changes that happened, I think we counted 10 of the top 20 teams in North America. I was surprised that that at least one player, maybe more, from Avengers wasn't poached, but now they're still together. You're talking about a legitimate, top 8, top 6 contender when going into any one of these North American tournaments, and Avengers are really good. They're definitely give Sentinels, the number 2 seed, a run for their money, and who knows, maybe they could even snatch a game or 2 off Optic Gaming. Of course, Darkest Hour coming in, and the darkest of horse squads, Darkest Hour, now qualifying for their second 4K in a row, and showing us that they're not just a fluke. Grand Shiesty, M305, Tricky, and Yaxin are the real deal, and you're gonna start watching out for them. If you're looking for a team that's maybe might be competing in the open bracket, or maybe might be one of those lower seeds going into championship bracket. If we're looking for like a dark horse squad, a true dark horse, look no further. Darkest Hour are them. We know very little about them except that they've been on the grind recently, and it's been showing. Going into pool play, I feel like you gotta have Optic, probably 3-1ing Sentinels. I would say 3-1ing Avengers, even though I could probably see that going into 3-2, to be honest with you. And then most likely 3-0 over Darkest Hour. I don't choose many 3-0s, but Optic are the number 1 team going into this tournament. Darkest Hour are the number 16 seed. It's that big of a difference. However, I will say when it comes to Sentinels versus Avengers, I feel like Avengers can give Sentinels a run for their money, especially with Sentinels, bringing in a newly Suspector. I can see a world where Avengers upset Sentinels. I'm not gonna put my money on it. I'm gonna say Sentinels come out with a 3-2 win over Avengers because the number 2 seed. I have a ton of respect for Lethal, Sparty, and Suspector, and King Nick and the boys. I truly have a lot of respect for this team. So I'm gonna say Sentinels hold on to their 2nd seed. I'll say they beat out Avengers in a 3-2, but watch out for Avengers. They're the real deal. I say going at the Darkest Hour. I say it's 3-1 Sentinels. So I think Sentinels come out second seed. I think Avengers will come out third seed, and then Darkest Hour come out fourth seed. I'm not predicting too much of a mix-up here. Going into Pool B, maybe that's a little bit different. You had FaZe, Frosty, Renegade, World 2, and Snakebite. They were top two all year long. In fact, going into Charlotte, they were the number 1 seed, I believe. After the I think it was after the qualifier, because they won the qualifier leading into it. FaZe were looking promising to dethrone Optic, but Optic got icy. They iced up and clutched up every single time, and FaZe right now look like number 2 team, I guess, not only North America but also in the world right now, and looking to go for the number 1 spot. Shopify Rebellion. I'm not gonna say a disappointing season for. I'll say up and down season for them. There's a few teams that we know are really good. There's a few teams that we know are really good but haven't hit their full potential, and I feel like Shopify Rebellion are one of them. Like Rebellion are a damn good team. They've shown moments of being a damn good team. They've also shown that they could be upset by almost anybody in the league, and that includes Proton Gaming. Shopify Rebellion, by the way, Carbea, Mental, Rain, and Rhino. Proton Gaming, Breaking Shot, Common, Posey, and the newly acquired Squale. Monster was on this team. Monster hightailed out and headed over to Complexity. So Proton almost had to come in with their sub, the retired Haynes, but last minute was able to switch out and bring in Squale, who comes in with a decent amount of points from Cloud9, and also is good friends with the guys. I know Posey said that he's been wanting to team with Squale for a little while now, so I think this is a team change that can work out for Proton Gaming. However, it's still a new team change, and there's still a lot of unknowns when it comes to that. So yeah, we'll see what Proton look like. Locked, I believe that was Envor's case. That should have been Envor, Tony. That should have been Envor, Tony 2 turned Arctic, and Jazero. Jazero was dropped from that Complexity roster to make room for Collect to come in. At one point in time, Jazero and Envor did team on the same team under Fnatic early in season 1, so reuniting that duo. I'm always a big fan of any team that Envor and Tony 2 turned on. I think Arctic, when Arctic is on fire, the dude is dangerous. He puts down damage on the map and definitely has a way of staying alive as well. And then Jazero, who when talking to Posey from Proton, talked about how Jazero is a very unselfish player and a very team-oriented player, which might be exactly what Locke needs to kind of glue everything together, to try to bring a level of coordination which was needed with this Locked roster. Locked could upset. They really could. I'm not going to put my money on it, though. And I'm going to say that this is kind of a straightforward as well. I think FaZe come out number 1 seed. I think Shopify Rebellion come with number 2, even though I like the matchup of Proton versus Shopify Rebellion. I really do. But Shopify already 10-3'd them literally just yesterday in scrims. And Proton are still trying to acclimate Squale into their system, where Shopify Rebellion have been together all season long. And I think there is an advantage when it comes to that. And then I'm gonna say Locked finished out in a 4th side. I think Proton Gaming still have that core 3. And I think Proton Gaming come out in the 3rd seed over Locked. But watch out. Locked are a definite unknown variable here. And I'm excited to see what happens with them, but I can see them ending still in 4th seed. And Proton Gaming, they got 12th place at Charlotte, Not gonna disrespect Proton Gaming. Pool C. This is where things get interesting. Let's talk a little bit about Pool C. So Let's talk about Pool C. Pool C. You have Space Station Gaming, Bound, Eco, Penguin, and Stellar, number 3 team in the world right now, and lots of people have them moving up to number 2, or at least winning one tournament this year, which would mean they'd have to upset the likes of like Optic or FaZe, which is not going to be easy. But if anybody can do it, Space Station Gaming might just be those guys. Again, Bound, Eco, Penguin, and Stellar. G1. Boo Boo Doo Falcated, Sabinator, and Suppressed. Recently dropping Suspector, bringing in Suppressed, who's been known to do these like crazy money challenges with Boo Boo Doo, known to and his two twin brothers, or I guess the triplets total. Been known to do these crazy money challenges, been known to sign up for like these random tournaments together and wreck house. Finally, Suppressed ends up on a roster that I feel like he truly deserves. I feel like he's finally getting his real shot on a top 4 contender, which G1 are. I will say though, Suppressed does have big shoes to fill, and we talked about that. We talked about that before. High damage dealing player. Really gets in the face, muddies up the game, and if he doesn't end up with like the highest KD, he usually has the most damage, and maybe another teammate is just cleaning up his kills, which there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Suppressed has been underrated for quite some time, and he continues to be underrated this year. And finally, I feel like a squad said, you know what, let's take a chance, let's bring in Suppressed, and let's see what he can do. Which I think he's gonna be lights out. But he is going up against Complexity, and I don't think Complexity dropped Suppressed. I believe Suppressed told Complexity they were leaving and left to G1 out from his own choice. And I can only imagine, although Complexity are probably not, Psycho and Tuss are probably not upset at him. They probably understand, you know, it's a big opportunity for Suppressed going to G1. However, you got to think about, if you were them, wouldn't that leave you just a little bit salty? And wouldn't a win over G1 be that much sweeter? I don't know. That's how I feel, and I feel like Complexity be coming in with a little bit of fire in that matchup. Suppressed, you left them, and now they might be coming for a little bit of revenge. G1 versus Complexity. By the way, Complexity, Psycho, Tusk, Collect, and Monster. Collect coming over from Sentinels after being dropped, and Monster leaving Proton Gaming to rejoin the team that he was on back in Season 1. Reuniting Psycho and Monster together. Finally, you have Status Quo. I think Status Quo came in as like number 1 or maybe number 2 seed. When going into the 4K qualifier, one of the 14 Darkest Hour lots, Status Quo and Mantra, that qualified through the qualifier that's made up of Mortally, Septify, Super CC, and Ace. I'm very interested to see what Mantra look like with Ace replacing Bone. Mantra were starting off really good. They decided to drop Swish and pick up Bohm, and although Bohm is a phenomenal player, by the way, Bohm is a strong player, something didn't mix well where they weren't able to hit the ceiling that we know they could. So now you're swapping out Bohm and bringing in Ace. You're just trying to find that that missing piece to the formula. And if you remember correctly, Ace did team with Mortally and Super CC on this pretty much the same roster. It was TSS back then. TSS then gets bought out by Team Meta, and now I'm not sure exactly what happened with the organization itself, but Mantra is coming in, or looking for an org right now. And it's Ace, Mortally, Septify, and Super CC. That's a Mantra. Then you have Cloud9. Cloud9 made up of Nemesis, Rami, Triton, and then Bohm. the very player that was left that's no longer on that Mantra roster. So those two are gonna be going at it. That should be fun. Boom, going up against his former team. Native Red and Native White in Pool D. Native Red made up of Druck, Manny, Talic, and Soul Snipe. Native White made up of Barcode, Gilkey, McWin, and Tapping Buttons. So I gotta put my chat away. I keep reading my chat, getting a little distracted there. Sorry about that. I could see these pools being less cookie cutter than A and B. Like, I could see a world where SSG went out first, G1 gets second, Complex get third, and Status Quo fourth. But y'all know I like to mix things up a little bit, and Space Station Gaming aren't the best online team. G1 are better online, so maybe G1 takes the #1 spot. Complexity have Monster, and Complexity have been known to be a very good online team. Maybe Complexity take the #2 spot over G1. Like the Pool C, this is a weird one. And just because I had Pool A and B cookie cutter, I'm gonna say Pool C is gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna say G1 first, Space Station second, Complexity third, and Status Quo fourth, just to mix things up a little bit. I don't want to be 1 through 4 every time. I'm gonna say that Pool C gets mixed up, and I'm gonna say Pool D gets mixed up as well. I'm gonna say Native Red on top, #1, Native White 2. If there is any team that can upset as the #4 seed, I think it's Pool D. I like Cloud9 a lot. I really do. But if there's any team that can upset as the #4 seed, it might be here in Pool D. But I'm going to say Cloud9 finished 3 and Mantra finished 4. But watch out for that matchup. That matchup could be really deadly. And yeah, that's your pools. This is going to be an interesting one. Like I said, you got G1 of Complexity suppresses a former team and his current team going at it. You got Cloud9 and Mantra. You know, you got Bohm and his former team going at it. You got Proton and Shopify, which would be a great matchup. Sentinels and Avengers, which is going to be a really good 2 and 3 seed. And it just there's storylines and there's tight matchups in every single one of these pools. So make sure you guys are watching outside. Don't just wait until Sunday to watch the bracket play. See how the entire tournament unfolds when it comes to bracket play, because it's going to be that interesting. But yeah, that's your HCS weekly report breaking down the pool play that's going to be happening for 4K #2. Optic, FaZe, SSG, all of the top teams are going to be competing, and these points really do matter, because when you really look at when you really do the math of some of the points, I'll give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek real quick. When you do the math for some of the points, they're closer than you think. This is a final push for a lot of these teams. You know, 11,000 across the board. Oh, sorry, North America. 11,000 across the board. 8,000 here, so FaZe have a chance to kind of to catch up to Optic if they win the last 2 online tournaments that really matter. You know, Space Station Gaming have a chance to catch up to FaZe. Look how tight Native White and G1 are. Like, it's really tight right now. So really pay attention to these the next 4K. And also the FaZe event that's going to be coming up right before the DreamHack Invitational. So, yeah, definitely keep your eye out. But, yeah, if you like this kind of content, let me know down below. Comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. You already know. Peace out, guys.